Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to set up Debian 10.5 in VMware Workstation Pro with the Tripwire host-based intrusion detection system. Okay, so I've already been over to Debian and I've downloaded the ISO, but I'll just show you the process just to make it clear. So in your browser, just type getting Debian, go to getting Debian, then you want to download a small installation image, then you want to click on this AMD64. Now, at the time of recording this video, the latest version of Debian was Debian 10.5, but which you can tell if you can just see it down at the bottom of the, as I'm hovered over AMD64, you can just tell down the bottom there it says Debian 10.5.0 AMD64 netinstall.iso. Now that'll change because Debian is a sort of rolling distribution, so in a few months that'll be 10.6, 10.7 and so on, and then eventually the version number will increment. So Debian 10, the code name for Debian 10 is Buster. So Debian 10 Buster, version 5 of Debian 10 really is what this is. So this is the current stable version of Debian. So you click on that, it'll download the ISO. Now, when I downloaded the ISO yesterday, it was about 366 meg, something like that. So it's not a huge file. I'm just going to get my notes open here to check it. Yeah, 366 meg. Now, to complete this lab, you will need, obviously you need your VMware, you'll need the Debian ISO, and just an internet connection, and that's it. So download that first. Once that's downloaded, we can start setting up the virtual machine. So in VMware, just click File, New Virtual Machine, Custom. Then we want to leave the hardware compatibility on Workstation 15. Then we're going to use an ISO image, okay? And at the moment this is navigated to the wrong ISO, so we're going to browse, and what we're actually going to do is we're going to use the Debian ISO that we just downloaded, the small ISO. There it is, 366 meg. So hit open there, and then click Next. The type is Linux, and VMware has cleverly detected that it's Debian 10 dot something 64-bit. Let's give it a name. So we're going to call this, I've got it's a ridiculous naming system going on here to try and manage how many VMs I've got. So we're going to call this one D105 for the Debian 10.5 VM. And then this is going to be 002 on that, okay? And the location, I've already created a directory for it, which is, let's see, VMware, there. Okay, perfect. Number of processors, put it to 2. Number of cores, 2. So like a dual core machine. Leave the RAM on 2 gig. Use network address translation. Just leave it on that just now. Leave this default. Leave the virtual disk type default. Create a new virtual disk, and let's make it a maximum size of 10 gig. Split the disk into multiple files. File name, and let's just make sure that we are saving this in the same directory as we created for the virtual machine, just to keep things tidy. Okay, so something else I like to do is just customize hardware and take away the sound card, because we're not going to be playing any music, and the printer as well. We don't need a sound card and a printer on this, so it's a headless server. Click finish, and the machine should automatically start. Now we hear a beep. It should be a beep. That strange beep that always happens when Debian starts. Don't know why. So now that we're at the startup menu, okay, we're going to choose graphical install, accessible dark contrast installer menu. Now that's new. something that's interesting about that, what I've always found interesting about Debian, is this install with speech synthesis. I've just thought that would be very interesting watching someone do that, but I've never actually had time to look it up. So, right, so just choose graphical install, and then we should get into the installer, hopefully. Here we go. So, I'm just going to quickly go through these settings. So English, United Kingdom, British English keyboard, and then it will load task cell, I think. Is it task cell that gets loaded? Basically, the Debian installer loads the base packages that it needs. Now, because we've gone for the net install ISO, all of Debian isn't stored inside that ISO. The reason it's called net install is because whatever we say we want in the installation, it will pull it from the internet. The ISO just has basic setup stuff in it. So host name, let's keep it consistent. Let's give the host name, just leave that as Debian. Leave the domain name. Root password, right. Let's just make the root password Michael on this, so I'll remember it. Okay. And continue. Full name, Michael. Username, Michael. Just keep everything simple. Otherwise I'm going to end up locked out of this machine. In about 2 days I'll completely forget that password. Right. Partitioning method, just leave it unguided. Use the entire disk. And all files in one partition. Finish the partitioning. Now, it just asks you if you want to confirm the changes. It's going to automatically build a swap partition for us and an ext4 for the system files. Okay, so now that the base system's installed, do you wish to scan another DVD? No. Configure the package manager. Now, this will depend on where you are. Okay, so if you probably want to pull your software from a mirror that's nearby. So in my case, I'm in the United Kingdom. Let's just leave the proxy blank, and then it's configuring apt the package manager. Okay, so now we're on to the popularity contest. I'm just going to say no to that, and then task cell. Okay, so what to select on the software selection is untick the desktop environment, untick the print server, and just leave SSH server and standard system utilities ticked. So just these two bottom options here, and click continue. Okay, so the last part of the installation, do you want to install the grub bootloader to the master boot record? Yes, you do. And then just choose the disk. Now this would be if we had a few disks in the machine, we'd have to pick which one we wanted the grub bootloader to go into. Okay, then it will install the grub bootloader, then finish the installation, then hopefully reboot the machine. Right, here we go, click continue. Okay, here we are, Debian Linux. Now, okay, just wait for this to boot up. Right, so we have the login prompt now. So I'm just going to log in as Michael, okay. And if I do an IPA, it's giving me an IP address that's natted behind the IP address of the physical machine here. So what I actually want to do is I want to take this virtual machine and I want it to join the LAN as if it was a real machine in its own right. So what I'm going to do is go up to VM, go to removable devices, network adapter settings, okay, and then I'm going to change the network adapter to bridged mode. Alright, and then just click save. Now the best way to, you can do like, you can tell the network adapter to go on and off again, but what I've found is if we just do a SU- to become root, and then we just do systemctl reboot, Alright, that'll reboot the machine. Now, once we do this, okay, the machine should get an IP address on the local LAN, and then I can SSH into it. No. Okay, so let me just log in here. Okay, so now, yep, I've got an IP address on my local LAN, so I'm going to get my terminal open. Michael at 192.168.100.2. Alright, and just accept that and pop the password in. Great. Okay, so now I've got a nice terminal that I can paste into and stuff. So I'm now SSH'd into that virtual machine from my local machine here. Okay, so we can take this machine and just minimize the window, and we can just leave this running in the background. Okay, so let's just minimize that. So now it's time to get Tripwire installed. So we can skip forward. Now, before you install Tripwire, I would advise that you install the full Vim, because by default it's only got the basic VI. I think it's called Vim Tiny. So I'm just going to elevate to root with SU-, and then install Vim -y. Alright, and that'll go and get Vim from the internet. Okay, so I'm just using my default GNOME terminal here, but if you're on Windows, Terraterm's a good program, or obviously Putty as well is a good program. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install Tripwire. Okay, so let's just do apt install Tripwire -y. Okay, and that'll install it. Okay, here we go. Now, this sort of whip tile dialogue style menu system is the installation for Tripwire. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose Internet Site. All right, click OK. And then, now, this is if we want to set things up for email. Okay, so the mail name is the domain name used to qualify mail addresses without a domain name. So we're not going to do email configuration on this one, just leave it as Debian. Tripwire configuration, do you wish to create the keys? Yes, I do. Do you wish to create the passphrase? Yes, I do. Tripwire has a database. Do you want to rebuild the configuration file? Yes, I do. Do you want to rebuild the policy file? Yes, I do. Okay, and then let it do its thing. Okay, so it's just going to ask us to enter some site key passphrases. So let's just pop in some passphrases, and then it's going to do something. Then it'll ask us for more passphrases. It's thinking about it. It's upset. Right, Tripwire has been installed. Brilliant. So, the Tripwire binaries are in sbin, the database is in varlib tripwire. It's strongly advised these locations be stored on write protected media, i.e. mounted on a floppy. And have a look at user shared .tripwire readme for details. So we don't need to do that, but if you wanted to go and read the readme, you could. So, to run Tripwire for the first time, we run an init. So we do tripwire -init. Okay. Please enter the local passphrase. I think I just messed that up there. Oh no, looks good. So what Tripwire is going to do now is it's generating a database. Okay, and what it's doing is it's scanning the whole system and creating a database of that system. Now you'll notice the first time we've got a lot of warnings from proc, root ICE authority, root X authority, root. these errors are coming up because there are files in these locations on the system that are changing. So what we now need to do is configure Tripwire in such a way that it doesn't monitor files that are going to change all the time. We want it to monitor files on the file system and directories on the file system that we want to be notified about if there's a change. For example, in proc, there's all sorts of stuff going on to do with memory and RAM, and there's just going to be changes in there all the time. We don't need the system to tell us that every single time there's a change. So there are some changes that I had to make, and what we're going to do is I'll put screen key on for this bit, okay? So you can see my shortcut commands. Okay, so now that we've got Tripwire installed, the next step is to configure the Tripwire policy file. Okay, so to do that, we need to edit the file twpol.txt, which is stored in etc Tripwire. Okay, so just with Vim, editing etc Tripwire twpol.txt. Now, in Vim, we're looking for a line that has etc rc boot on it. And you can see this line is just here. Alright, now in Vim, right, the reason I turned screen key on is this is, I'm just going to go to the very top of the page. If let's say I came into a very, very large config file, the way I would find it is in normal mode, I press / this way, and this takes me into search mode, and then I know I'm looking for etc, right, /rc.boot. Okay, so all I do is I type that in and I press return. Okay, then it finds etc Tripwire, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for rc.boot. There it is. Found it straight away. So let's just say this file was massive. That could save you a lot of time. And if you have to make a lot of changes to files, being able to jump around the config is actually very valuable. So now if I press return, okay, Vim will take me into that line, and then I just need to press the letter I, and you can see down the bottom there it's now in insert mode. Now we can type, and all we're going to do is we're going to comment this out. Okay, these runtime boot scripts, we don't want to monitor those. Okay, now there are a few more that we need to comment out. So the next one is we're looking for system boot changes. So I'm just going to copy that to my clipboard. System boot changes, copy, and then we're going to press escape in Vim again. We're going to press the /, and now we're in search, and then I can paste in system boot changes, and there you go, it's jumped to that line straight away. Pressing return takes me into the line, and then if I just press I, that takes me into insert mode, and then I can go down and we have to comment out varlock and varrun. Okay, then we want to find another part of the config file, so escape / again, and we're looking for this time root. It's found it already, root config files. So then if I just press return, it'll take me into there, and we want to comment out root, comment out everything but root, and so let me just go into insert mode here. Comment out everything but root, and where's the other one? root.bashrc. So everything needs commented out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put comments here, 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 here. Now there will be some kind of elegant way to do this with Vim, but for the sake of just doing that, that's fine. Let's just take that one off. So everything but root.bashrc and root itself. Okay, right. Now the next step is we need to find device and kernel information. Oh look, there's device and kernel information right there. Device and kernel information, and we're going to comment out proc. Okay, so let's just get to proc, press, and okay, and then that's it. Okay, so press escape and then shift ZZ saves the file, Shift 2 capital Z's. Okay, we're going to regenerate the policy file, okay, with the new config. And the command for that is twadmin space -m space p /etc tripwire twpol.txt. Okay, and then just press return. Please enter the passphrase. Great, wrote policy file. So now that we've done this, we need to run tripwire -init. Okay, enter the local passphrase, and what this will do is regenerate the database. So hopefully this time that we've run it, now that we've got the new policy file, it shouldn't chuck out so many errors as it did last time. Great, the database was successfully generated, and don't worry about these dev huge pages and dev MQ, it's just saying that it's ignoring those. It's written the database file and the database was successfully generated. So now we can run tripwire --check. Okay? Tripwire is going to check this system. So let's just see what it comes back with. Okay, no errors, no violations. Okay, and it gives you a report of what's been added, what's been removed, what's been modified. Numbers. At the moment, absolutely nothing. Okay? Absolutely nothing. No violations in the file system, no errors. Alright, so this is good at this stage. What we want to do now is we want to put a malicious file somewhere, okay? And then we want to check the system again and see if Tripwire will find that file, if it will do that detection of the intrusion. So let's just create a script, right? Called /bin/ secret script .sh. Okay, so scripts stored in the binary directory can be run system wide. So let's just create that now. Now that we've created the secret script, let's run the file system check again with Tripwire. So run the check, and Tripwire is performing the integrity check. It's thinking about it. Haha! What's this? Added user bin secret script .sh modified. So it's telling me that the binary directory usr bin has been modified, and it's telling me what's been added to the system. And if we scroll up to our report here, we can see that under other binaries, one has been added and one has been modified. Okay, so 2 violations have taken place. Alright, so that's it. Host-based intrusion detection system. That's Tripwire. It's working. So